Today's topic of discussion is cohort study. Last time we discussed case control study. In case control study, I told you that we will go from effect to cause. That is, we will go retrospectively. Outcome will be there, and we will go back to the risk factors of disease. But in cohort studies, we will go from cause to effect. Okay, that's why it is called prospective study. We will study the risk factors of the disease that will lead to the outcome. That will be in the form of disease. First of all, we have to know about what is cohort. Cohort group is basically defined as a group of people who share or experience common characteristics within a defined period of time. For example, age, sex, occupation, exposure to drug, etc. So cohort group is the group that is having or experience common characteristics with each other. Okay? Uh, Cohort study is known by a number of names, like it is known as a prospective study. It can be known as a longitudinal study. Why longitudinal study? Because it is involving follow-ups, long follow-ups, because the study duration is over a prolonged period of time, so it requires follow-up. That's why it is called longitudinal study. And it is also called incidence study because we can calculate incidence only from cohort study. Remember this point, this is very important point. Okay, we can calculate incidence only from cohort study. And what is incidence? Incidence is number of new cases. And it is also part of forward-looking study. So, what now comes to the distinguishing features that are involved in cohort study. We will identify cohort group prior to the appearance of disease. We will design a cohort group prior to the appearance of disease. And the next distinguishing feature is the study group that we will define will be observed over a period of time to determine the frequency of disease among them. So that's why it is called a longitudinal study, because we observe the risk factors of the disease, coming disease, over a period of time, and it requires follow-ups. And the next feature is study proceeds from cause to effect. We will take these factors and then we will go forward towards the outcome. This is the cohort design of the study. As I told you, we will take the study population that will be free from disease. We will start with the study population that will be free from disease, but that population will be having the risk factors for that disease. May have the risk factors or may not have the risk factors. So the factors can be present, the factors can be absent. And from these factors, we will lead towards the outcome. Okay? That will be in the form of some may be having disease or some may be not having disease in the presence or absence of that risk factors. So that's how we will lead the study. Okay? So the present will be uh, the study population free from the disease and having or not having the risk factors, and we will go to the future. That will be the outcome in the form of people having disease or non-disease. Comes to the indication for the cohort study. When there is a good association between the exposure and the disease, when the exposure is rare but the incidence of disease is high among exposed, when there is a strong association between the risk factors and disease. Uh, the third will be when attrition of study population can be minimized. Attrition of study population means loss to follow up can be minimized, because we all know that this study requires follow up, and in follow up visits there can be loss of study population, loss to follow up. So when the attrition of this is called, this loss to follow up is called basically attrition. So this study will be indicated when the attrition of study population can be minimized, no loss to follow up. There are different types of cohort study. One is prospective cohort study, second, retrospective cohort study, and the third is combination of both prospective and retrospective cohort study. What is the prospective cohort study? Prospective cohort study, as the name indicates, outcome has not yet occurred at the time of investigation begins. We will start with the risk factors of the disease and then we will go to the outcome. So the study will begin from this point. Okay, study will begin from the risk factors over a period of time, and then we will go to the outcome by studying those risk factors. So it's the prospective cohort study. Retrospective cohort study will be, as the name indicates, we will have the risk factors. We will have, sorry, the outcome of the disease before the start of the investigation. So now in this scenario, the study will start from the outcome of the disease. Okay, and we will go back to the risk factors. Okay, that disease is associated with this risk factor or not. Okay, so the study will be start from the outcome and then we will go back to the risk factors. What are the steps? What are the elements that are involved in proceeding a cohort study? Number one, we will select the study population. Second, we will obtain data on exposure. Third, we will select a comparison group. Obviously, there will be a need for a comparison group that will be compared with our study group, with our cohort group. Fourth point will be follow-up, and the last is the analysis. We will discuss all these points one by one. So first is the study or selection of the study population, selection of study subjects. As I told you, in case control study, we can select the study samples, we can select the study subjects either from the general population or from any special group that will be related to age, that will be related to any professional like doctors, nurses, and that can be related to a high risk, that can be a high risk group like, for example, radiologists exposed to X-ray. So selection of the study subject can be a general population based or it can be a special group based. Okay. Second step is we will obtain data on exposure. From which places we can obtain data? We can obtain data from the same cohort member, from the review of previous hospital records. We can obtain data from any medical examination, and we can obtain data from any environmental survey, or we can obtain data from any questionnaire. Okay, so these are the various ways we can obtain data on exposure for that study groups. Third point is the selection of comparison groups. For comparison, we need a comparison group along with the study or cohort group. This comparison group may be taken internally from the study. That means single cohort will enter the study, and it means its members on the basis of information will be classified into several comparison groups according to the degree or level of exposure to risk. Let's suppose I'm going to give you an example. For example, we are studying the risk factor smoking. Okay, we can make groups like smoking one pack per day. One group will be smoking one pack per day. One group will be the other group will be smoking two packs per day. So that's how we can take comparison group from internally, inbuilt comparison group without taking it from outside. Okay. Next, we can take comparison group externally. ठीक है? For example, we can uh, take one group that is smoker, and externally we can take another group that will be non-smokers. इसी तरह से we can take radiologist and we can compare them with the ophthalmologist. ठीक है? So this is how to make group externally. Or if none is available, then we can take we can we can assess mortality of exposed group with the general population. We can take comparison group from the general population. So these are the three ways from where we can select a comparison group. We can take comparison group internally, we can take it externally, or we can compare it from the general population. Fourth step will be follow-up. Follow-up is very important. It is very essential for this study. And follow-up will be in the form of periodic medical checkups. We can take follow-up from reviewing hospital records. We can take it from routine surveillance of that records. और इसके अलावा we can take follow-up through mailed questionnaires. We can take follow-up through telephone calls and periodic home visits. This follow-up can be biannually, it can be annually, okay, but it is very important. And the most important point is follow-up should be retained. Loss to follow-up should be minimized. Okay, attrition should be minimized. कि अगर आपने 100 बंदों को अपनी स्टडी पॉपुलेशन में शामिल किया था और 6 महीने बाद उन 100 का फॉलो अप किया है, तो एटलीस्ट 95% का फॉलो अप जो है वो आपको ज़रूर अचीव करना चाहिए. ठीक है, लॉस टू फॉलो अप जो है वो कम होना चाहिए, उससे आपकी स्टडी की जो ऑथेंटिसिटी है वो डिस्टर्ब होती है. Fifth point will be analysis. What we are going to analyze from cohort study. Data will be analyzed in terms of incidence rates of outcome among exposed and non-exposed. I have told you in start, if we can only measure incidence from cohort studies, we cannot measure incidence from any other study. So we can calculate, we can measure incidence rates of outcome among exposed and non-exposed. The same 2x2 टेबल जो कि पीछे स्क्रीनिंग में भी मैंने आपको करवाया, फिर केस कंट्रोल स्टडीज में भी करवाया, और अब ये कोहॉर्ट स्टडीज में भी सेम जो हमारा 2x2 का टेबल है. रिस्क फैक्टर्स, risk factor, tobacco chewers present, non-chewers absent, or either developed cancer or did not develop cancer. Formulas बना लेंगे हम A plus B C plus D. ठीक है, तो the incidence rate will be calculated with the formula that is incidence rates of outcome among exposed and incidence rates of outcome among non-exposed. The formula will be A plus A divided by A plus B or C divided by C plus D. This is the formula of incidence. Next, we can calculate the estimation of risk. Okay? That will be a relative risk or attributable risk. Uh, Relative risk will be incidence of disease among exposed divided by incidence of disease among non-exposed. Okay? If incidence of disease among exposed will be 4.5 and incidence of disease among non-exposed with that factor is 0.5, then relative risk will be 9. So it means that 9 times higher risk of development of oral carcinoma in tobacco chewers compared to non-chewers. And greater the relative risk, greater will be the association. Okay? इस बात को आपने याद रखना है, जितना ज्यादा relative risk होगा उतनी ही ज्यादा association होगी for that disease. ठीक है? So nine times higher risk of developing oral carcinoma in tobacco chewers compared to non-chewers. ठीक है? So how strong this tobacco chewer relative risk is closely related to the association. Next is the attributable risk or risk difference. The formula is incidence of disease rate among exposed minus incidence among non-exposed divided by incidence rate among exposed. तो इसको जब हमने कैलकुलेट किया that will be 88.9%. तो इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? It indicates to what extent the disease under study can be attributed to exposure. ठीक है? इसका मतलब हुआ फॉर एग्जाम्पल 88.9% of oral cancer among tobacco chewer is due to the tobacco chewing. That's how this attributable risk is telling us that risk factor or the exposure factor is that how strongly related to the disease. If 88.9% of the oral cancer among tobacco chewer is due to the tobacco chewing, तो इसकी जो स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ एसोसिएशन है इस फैक्टर की डिजीज के साथ दैट इज 88.9%. कि 88.9% लोगों में ओरल कैंसर जो है वो टोबैको च्यूइंग की वजह से हो रहा है. ठीक है? तो दैट इज द एट्रिब्यूटेबल रिस्क. ओके. Bias in cohort study, again the same as I told you in case control study. Bias can be selection bias, by selecting the study sample. There can be a bias. Information bias हो जाता है. ठीक है? Introvert bias हो सकता है और bias due to any confounding factor. Confounding factor I told you last time in very detail about confounding variables. ठीक है? और फिर I told you how to prevent a confounding factor through matching. ये सारा मैंने आपको बताया था. ठीक है? Now comes to the advantages of cohort studies. Incidence can be calculated from cohort study. Several possible outcomes related to exposure can be studied simultaneously. If we are studying multiple risk factors, can जी कोई बोलना चाहता है? We can have several possible outcomes. ठीक है? Running out time हो रहा है. कितना रह गया? अच्छा. It will provide relative risk, direct estimate of relative risk. It will provide the association between the exposure and the outcome, strong association. It can provide the dose response ratio, can be calculated from the cohort study. Since comparison groups are formed before the disease develops, certain forms of bias can be minimized. ठीक है? क्योंकि हमें डिजीज का नहीं पता, हम रिस्क फैक्टर से स्टडी कर रहे हैं, तो इसमें बायस कैन बी मिनिमाइज. Disadvantages will include it is unsuitable for investigating uncommon diseases. It is not suitable for study rare diseases because it requires follow-ups. It takes a prolonged period of time. It is an expensive study, so we will not use this study for the rare diseases or uncommon diseases. ठीक है. Second disadvantage will be long time to complete study and obtain results. Follow-ups required, as I told you, so it will take long time. Number three is there can be administrative problem uh, because of the multiple follow-ups. We have to maintain the extensive record keeping. So there can be a administrative problem in the cohort study relating to that record keeping. It is expensive because it requires long follow-ups. It can alter the people behavior, like uh, the uh, the study subject that enter in the study, maybe that is a heavy smoker and that is a chain smoker, may stop or decrease smoking by time. So there can be alter people behavior because of the long duration of the study. People can alter their behavior and they can lose their interest in the study, and then they can migrate from one place to the other. So there can be a problem of loss to follow. Okay, and there can be some ethical issues related to this study. So these are the disadvantages of cohort study. The next assignment that you have to submit before our next lecture is you have to pen down the differences between case control and cohort study. At least 8 differences. You have to pen down at least 8 differences between case control and cohort study. This is the assignment. You have to submit it before your next lecture. Next time inshallah we will study about experimental studies. ठीक है. एक्सपेरिमेंटल एपिडेमियोलॉजी के बारे में इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट टाइम हम पढ़ेंगे. इस लेक्चर से रिलेटेड कोई क्वेश्चन हो, समझ आ गई है सबको?